Welcome back to the Marching Arts Utah podcast. Joining me today is Director of Bands at Orem High School, Curtis Winters. Curtis, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, yeah, great to be with you. Hi, I'm Curtis Winters. I started my teaching career at Orem Junior High School and spent 25 years there teaching band and orchestra. And then a few years ago, came over here to Orem High School. I'm starting my 4th year now at Orem High School. I'm a trombonist primarily. I love jazz. I also love marching band. I did 6 years of marching band at BYU, 2 of those years as drum major. I always anticipated I would go out and teach high school and do marching band as a part of that. And so it's fun to come to the high school and finally do a lot of marching band here.
Fun fact, you were my very first band director ever when I was in junior high. I was a 7th grader, and I hadn't seen you since 8th grade until earlier this year, about 4 months ago. Stopped by your office. You probably had no idea who I was at the moment.
It was awesome. It took just a moment for some of the memories to flood back, but we had a lot of good times at Orem Junior High.
Yeah, all of my memories in band at Orem Junior were good. So just so you know.
Yeah.
But it was so cool to see just how far you've gone in your career, and you really don't even look that much different either. So.
All right. Well, I can probably blame my wife for helping me to eat well and keep active, but I have 7 kids at home also. That keeps me busy. But I've loved this journey of teaching the beginners, which again I never really anticipated I would start off teaching beginning band classes, and that was quite a journey to figure out how to do that well. And beginning orchestra is another part of that. So. But I love it.
Awesome. I'm going to have you start by telling your musical story. What were some of your earliest musical influences, and what made you decide to get into the career path that you've been doing?
Well, I got to say, it did start with marching band. It started with seeing the high school marching band. I marched through the school. I mean, I grew up in Arizona, and we had this outdoor elementary school where there's lots of spaces outside, right? Lots of hallways. There was really no interior hallways. So yeah, they come marching down, playing, and it was loud and exciting. My older brothers and sisters sister was in marching band, and so that's what introduced me to the concept in the first place. Fun fact, I started out on violin. I played violin starting in 2nd grade, I believe. So I did about 3 years of violin lessons, Suzuki method. And I credit that for really helping develop my ear as a musician. That was really awesome. Yeah. But our school didn't have an orchestra program, and my interest in that was waning. But I liked big and loud and exciting, so I picked up the trombone as a 5th grader, and never looked back.
When you say you picked up the trombone, was it an instrument that your family already owned, or was it something that you saw at the school?
I wasn't sure what I wanted to play. I thought I wanted to play trumpet. That looked right to me, but to be honest, my parents asked the band director, "Do you have any school instruments?" They said, "We have some trombones left," so trombone it is.
Yeah.
But I love it. I feel like I really just became a trombonist,
Yeah. So you played trombone through middle school, high school. What are some of your favorite memories in marching band in high school?
Well, I loved my junior year where I was the featured soloist on Somewhere Out There from, what's that movie called? The little mouse that was lost. Anyway.
American Tail.
American Tail, there we go. Yeah, so we played Somewhere Out There.
Beautiful song. I love that song.
And it was a pretty fun solo moment for me. The whole band was kind of near the front, and then I stood in the middle and played da-dee-da-da-da-dee-da-dee-da, played that little solo as the band marched away from me, leaving me alone in the middle. So it was kind of a fun moment there.
They were leaving you somewhere out there.
Yeah. Some good writing from my band director. Got to give him credit for that.
Nice.
And then my senior year, I was torn between playing trombone but I wanted to try to be drum major, and I made it as a drum major in high school. And that kind of solidified that sense. And that's when I decided I loved teaching music. I also taught at a scout camp in the summers.
Okay.
I spent 4 or 5 of my teenage years working all summer at a Boy Scout camp.
Okay.
And
so you kind of got some leadership experience?
Totally. I loved new class of kids coming in every week, getting to know them and trying to make it a fun experience for them and educational. And so my senior year, I realized I could put those two together and have a great life teaching music.
Yeah. So what did you do between high school and BYU?
Not much. I mean, I graduated high school, went to BYU the very following year,
Okay.
and just went full speed ahead there at BYU.
So you were in the marching band there for 6 years, you said?
Yeah, I did. I had a year and a half before my mission, which I served a mission for 2 years, and my birthday was at the end of November, and I was a young student. I came to college at 17, turned 18 during my freshman year at BYU. So I got that extra year in there, and then after my mission, I did 4 more years before I graduated. So yeah, so I got 6 years of marching at BYU. Had a lot of trips to bowl games, a lot of trips to Disneyland.
Remind me what years were you at BYU?
So that was 90 and 91, the Ty Detmer years.
Yes.
My very first live BYU football game was Ty Detmer. The season opener, it was BYU versus Miami, who was ranked #1 in the country, and we took them down. We won that game. So it was an epic way to start my career at BYU.
Yeah.
So, and then after that it would have been, let's see, 94, 95, 96, 97. Yeah.
You were there for some of the best years in BYU football history, honestly.
It was a good time.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
It was near the end of the coach.
Lavelle Edwards.
Lavelle Edwards,
Yeah.
yeah, near the end of Lavelle Edwards' career.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a lot of great.
I was at so many of those games, those exact years, and I remember the marching band playing in the stands. So I was definitely there at the same time as you for some of those games,
right,
more
awesome.
the later 90s. I wish I could have gone to that Miami game, but I was only 5 years old and
okay.
didn't even really know what football was at the time.
yeah.
So that's awesome. Where did you serve your mission?
South Carolina.
Okay.
And one time in South Carolina, I was riding my bike with my companion, and I heard a marching band playing. I was like, "We gotta go see!" So it was a marching band rehearsing out on their, in the field of the high school.
Yeah.
And for like 10 glorious moments, I stood there and just heard some, rehearsal. It was great.
Did your companion make fun of you for that?
Oh yeah, he was like, "What is this? We gotta go." But not a marching band person himself. But yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
So there were some good marching bands there apparently. So.
That's awesome. I served in Sweden, and there were a couple times where it wasn't marching bands. It was more like seeing a cathedral and hearing an orchestra or something playing in there and
nice.
stopping me like, we have to go in there.
Yeah.
And then me getting called various nerd names for doing that. But I didn't care. It was cool. I got to see Handel's Messiah performed live in this big cathedral for free. It was awesome. But
since you mentioned that, I always have been of the opinion that marching band, that band kids are cool. Like, there's no reason why they can't also be among the cool kids. I had a great group of friends in and out of band in high school, and so I'm proudly a band nerd, band geek also, right? But I also don't like anytime someone's like, "Oh, band, that's for the nerds or geeks," or that's not, I'm like, no, it is cool. And I search for those moments where, like this happened my first year here at Orem High School. The marching bands were combined at that time, and very few kids at this school were in the marching band. Only I think eight Orem High kids were in the marching band because it was combined with Mountain View and Timpanogos high schools. And there was a stronger marching band tradition at those schools for some reason at the time. And so what I had to represent the Orem High band was the pep band. And a lot of the kids were even like, "I don't want to do pep band. Oh, do we have to?" Because they hadn't been used to going to the games and playing it as a pep band. So I'm like, "Yes, we're doing this, guys." And so we just had a real simple da 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 go fight win theme, but we had a great saxophone player, a jazz saxophone player. So I was like, "Hey, we're gonna play Go Fight Win, and you're gonna go stand right in front of the student section, and you're gonna solo over it, improvise over it." So here we go, da 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 da. And so on the second chorus, he comes in soloing, and he steps up on the rails like in front of them, so he's a little bit elevated. Starts wailing on the saxophone, and the whole student section is like, "Yeah, yeah!" And I'm like, see, band is cool. There we go, band is cool.
Absolutely.
And try to make those moments happen where not just marching band parents and families and friends, but the whole student body is like, "Oh, yeah, this is great. This is a great moment for music."
Well, everyone listens to music and loves music.
Yeah.
there's nothing uncool about music, but for some
Yeah.
reason there's this stigma that goes back many decades. But I think now that the social media era, and I think more and more people have family members that are in band and they are in band themselves, I feel like it's definitely swinging back to the other side where people understand that it's a
Great.
cool thing. But I know that Orem in particular is a very sports dominated city, and just the area around here is very sports dominated.
Yeah, and I realized that more during my first year. Like even the cross country team here is really a big deal, and so a lot of, I think 1/4 of the student body here is from out of area. They come
Oh wow.
for the sports, for the athletics.
Okay.
They come full time to the school, and they do the soccer, the volleyball, football, of course, basketball. Cross country probably has a draw. So. So yeah, that's been a big deal here.
Yeah.
And I don't have any animosity toward the athletics. I want to be a part of that as much as possible. So I try to be friends with the football coach and the basketball coach, and just be visible in the school as often as possible, to create more of those moments for everybody. Because I want all the kids in the band to feel like they are an important part of the school as well as all the athletic teams.
Rather than like being isolated in the music wing,
Yeah,
because I
right.
think a lot of schools are that way.
Yeah.
And we just spoke the other day with Joe Windsor up in Weber County. He's at the new Westfield High School. And he was talking about how important it was for him to build relationships with the coaches and the other teachers.
Yeah.
How have you found that benefits you and the band program?
Yeah, well, I like it being a team. I don't want anyone else who works in the school to be an enemy, to feel like any animosity or enmity towards them. It's not a fight over the football field. We're sharing the football field.
Yeah.
It's not a fight over time in other places of school. We share it. We take turns, and they have a legitimate right to be there.
Sure.
A lot of band directors, I think, get in this mindset that, the sports are stupid. Everyone, I hate it because everybody loves them and they have it so easy and it's popular. Anyway, I love that that's popular, and I want to be part of that popularity as a band. I want the band to also be popular in a very similar way. And so, so I just try to make it a friendly relationship with them in every possible way, including sharing the field, which is just talking about, okay, when does this work for you? And so our football coach has been willing in the past to end their Monday rehearsal, or what do you call it when they practice?
A football
on the field.
rehearsal.
Exactly. They end their football practice on the field a little early on Mondays, because that's the day we go out, so that we can get going a little earlier on Monday
awesome.
nights.
Yeah.
And so I want them to be willing to make concessions once in a while, or trade-offs, and so the way to do that is to just reach out as a friend, as a colleague, and feel like we're equals, and not like I'm superior in any way to them. Now, am I superior to them in music? Certainly, yes. Am I superior to them in intellect? I don't know, maybe. Am I superior to them in the time I spend in the school? Definitely, right? Because I'm here in the school with the kids a lot more than probably they are. Some of the coaches just only teach, they're not even teaching a class in the school,
I see.
But that doesn't give me any more right to the football field. It is their field.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of how I try to think about it.
No, that's cool. Have you found that mentality has rubbed off on your students as well, in kind of their perception of the other groups in the school?
I don't know. I hope so, but definitely when I came here, I found an attitude of animosity toward the athletics from the band kids here, So, and the cheerleaders too. I'm like, hey, let's do something with the cheerleaders. They're like, no, the cheerleaders think they're so cool, Well, they are real people. They work hard. The cheerleaders come at 6 a.m. at this school, 6 a.m. to work out every day, even in the summer.
Dedication.
They work hard, and they're real people. And I have daughters who have been on dance teams at the high school, and people sometimes treat them like they think that they're all that, but they're just having a good time trying to get through school and life like anybody else.
Just like the band kids.
And they will respond in a friendly manner if we treat them that way. So anyway, so I hope to create that kind of culture
Yeah.
here, and I don't know how long it'll take or if it'll finally set. We'll see.
When did you start here at Orem High School?
It was 3 years ago, so I'm just starting my 4th year. So whatever year that is, 23 maybe
2023.
So yeah.
Now, let's backtrack just a little bit. I want to hear a little bit more about your time at BYU, and particularly as a drum major. Can you talk about who was the band director there at the time, and what was your experience like being a drum major?
All right, yeah. Dr. Don Peterson was the marching band director at BYU for many years. He was director of, he wasn't director of, I think he was associate director of bands because he taught the lower level symphonic band, which was called symphonic band there.
Yeah.
And then he did the marching band. And he was awesome. All the kids loved working with him.
Yeah.
He made it a fun experience, made it a positive experience. I can't remember one time where he like brought down some kind of hammer and made everyone like, oh no, is he gonna, is he gonna yell at us? Is he gonna? So he had high expectations. Yes, he expected us to work hard, but it was always just a positive, fun experience socially and musically. And so, and that built on the experiences I had with my high school director, who would occasionally, you could tell he was angry, but he wouldn't lose his temper. He wouldn't yell at anyone. He wouldn't tear anyone down. He wouldn't act like he was awesome and everyone else was stupid at that moment, And so those definitely rubbed off on me. So it was great working with him, and there was 3 drum majors at the school at the time during those years. And I can't even remember if I was ever a head drum major. I remember, because I think both years I worked with Amy Sanders, and she may have been head band director. I don't even remember.
You head drum major?
Head drum major, yeah. It was just a great team with the 3 of us working together. And
do you remember the name of the other drum major?
it was different each year.
Okay.
So I can see their faces. I can see one of their faces, but I can't remember their names.
That's okay. After about 30 years, you get a pass for not remembering all the names.
So, so we tried to lead. By being personable and friendly with everybody.
Had you decided by the time you got to BYU that you were going to do music education, or was that something that sort of evolved over time?
Yeah, early in my senior year, or maybe even at the end of my junior year of high school, I decided I wanted to be a band director. So, so I came to BYU full speed ahead with that in mind. Now, why did it take me 6 years to graduate? Because I wanted to be prepared to teach everything. So, and I loved jazz. Jazz was my, I liked being in the band at my elementary school. But in 7th grade, I was introduced to jazz at a summer camp. And I was like, oh, this is like extra fun. So I loved jazz especially, and tried to get good at soloing as a trombonist, improvising. And that was one of the things I really pursued passionately during high school and during college. So in college, I loved marching band, wanted to keep getting more experience in marching band. So every year marching band was a must and jazz band was a must. And then because of the requirements, symphonic band or a symphony orchestra was a must. I played trombone in the orchestra several times to get that requirement as the classical performance requirement.
Yeah.
So I had those. I wanted to take the science of acoustics class. So I understood music
like
in that way.
Recording and stuff like that?
No, that's a scientific class where you understand sine waves and why a clarinet plays an octave and a fifth above the primary tone, whereas others produce a tone that's an octave above, like the way that works. Anyway, all those things are really fascinating to me, and I wanted to. So it was called physics, the physics of sound. So
that sounds really interesting.
I would have loved to take a recording class too, but I didn't see that as essential. But so the physics of sound class I took as an extra.
So that just kind of added time to your degree and how long it took to finish.
Yeah, those other classes I took. I loved composing. I wanted to understand music on that level too. My high school director would arrange a lot of music for the marching band and sometimes even the jazz band. And so I wanted to have that ability also to write music or arrange music for a full band.
Yeah.
So I took an extra class or two about that. I took a songwriting class, like the popular how to write a song for a voice with guitar, you know. All those things I considered some of the classes that weren't required essential to me. And so did all that. I did not do student teaching, which is one extra semester, right? So I took 6 years, I think 12 semesters, including some summer terms as well. Jazz piano is another class I took that I wanted to do. Let's see, what was that? I took a counterpoint class. Counterpoint, so I could understand how to write different melodies on top of each other, you know, like in a Baroque style or other styles. So, and I was planning to student teach, but that would have been a fall semester student teaching, and I was just getting married in the spring, and so I would have had student teaching ahead, and I needed a job to provide for my wife and myself. And this job opened up at Orem Junior High that was an internship where I would have been paid half salary, but full benefits, medical benefits. So, but student teaching is not required for an internship, and BYU had a program where they would let you intern for a year. They'd monitor you. So it kind of took the place of student teaching. So
I see.
So I did that at Orem Junior High and then stayed on there for 24 more years.
What was your first year at Orem Junior High?
It would have been 1998.
Okay. So I believe I was among your very first students at Orem Junior High. Because it was fall of 1998 that I started at Orem Junior.
Okay, yeah.
And I remember coming into your office, and I think I told you I want to play timpani. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to play timpani. I'd grown up on Boston Pop's orchestra recordings, and the timpanist was the one that always, I was like, I want to do that.
The beginning of the Olympic dum, 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 and the end of so many other great songs, yeah.
Anything by John Williams, very timpani heavy, I wanted to do that. And you kind of brought me back down to earth and said, okay, well, you can be a percussionist I needed to have some piano experience, which I did, but you explained to me that, well, you're not just going to be a timpanist, and here's a practice pad, and I was like, what is this? And like, here's a bell kit. I'm like, oh, it kind of looks like a piano. But I remember coming to your office and you explained to me and my mom how, you know, I couldn't just be a timpanist all at once, but I did get to play plenty of timpani parts with you. I remember one piece in particular called Equinox.
Oh yeah, all right, great.
It was so much fun. I still get it stuck in my head. It goes into like 5/8 or 7/8 or something like that. Yeah. And I remember I couldn't fathom the whole 7/8 thing, and you were conducting it in 7/8. It was just this one little part, and I couldn't fathom it. And I had a timpani part, and I just kept playing it in like 4/4.
Okay.
And you kept stopping, like no. And so you kind of had to teach me from the pulpit, from the podium, how to count 7/8, and that's when it clicked. And from then I didn't have any problems. But
okay.
Anyway, I have really fun memories and speaking of recording, you were saying that you didn't take any recording classes. One of my base memories of you was walking into the auditorium one day, and I think you were with the jazz band, and you were recording an album. And you had a laptop out there, and this was all super new technology to me. I think to everyone, pretty, you know, and you know, late 90s, and you're doing digital recordings.
Yeah, I think I bought that recording software, which is on the tip of my tongue. But yeah, I bought some recording software so I could use on my, because I love
Was it Cakewalk by chance?
Yeah, that probably.
Because I think I ended up getting Cakewalk because I think I
totally used Cakewalk. That was probably
I think that was it. But it blew my mind that you could record certain segments and then be like, let's do that again, and then stitch them all together so it's like a perfect recording. I was like, that's brilliant. But anyway, I remember that about
that's awesome.
That you were very, you know, you're very groundbreaking at Orem Junior with the stuff that you were doing. Unfortunately, my family and I moved to Texas after my 8th grade year, and I didn't have you again after that. But I continued in band, and it was great. But
that's great. That's a pretty good upgrade to go to Texas. Probably, you know, most schools there. Did you remember playing a song called "A Few Good Men"?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was.
Yeah, I've got pictures of that recording. My mom was at that concert,
Okay.
and you were conducting us, and I remember everybody that was in there. Yeah,
Yeah, I heard that song from either a cassette tape or a record from
yeah.
Roll
It's
Off
Roll Off
Productions.
Productions,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was like, that's fun. I got to get that piece. And that was a great percussion class.
Yeah.
I never could reproduce a percussion class quite like that
Oh,
as the
really?
years went by. I don't know why, but that was a good. I was like, oh, this is awesome. We're
Well,
doing percussion
yeah.
ensemble stuff. And it's pretty great. Yeah.
No, everyone in there it was a super fun class.
Yeah.
And it really set me, when I got to Texas, I had a choice to play football or basketball. But the basketball coach lived on my street when we moved there. And I was tall for my age. And so he wanted me to play basketball. And the football coach, I showed up at a summer practice, and the heat there is unbearable because it's also very, very humid.
Oh, okay.
And we were in East Texas. Anyway, because of the heat and just like, oh my gosh, I decided I'm probably not going to do football. So band it was. But yeah, I think that your influence on me was very heavy at that point because you're the one that kind of showed me how band works. Because in my young mind, I was like, I didn't know. I just knew what I wanted to do. I didn't know how to get there. So.
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. I appreciate your
Well, this
influence
deserves
on
just a little bit of a a celebration moment. That was a great that impacted your life in that good. I'm grateful to hear.
There's one thing I regret, and I don't know if I've ever told you this, probably not, but there was one rehearsal that we were in, and I was playing something, and I guess I did it really well, and you were like, "You're going to be a great band director one day, Matt," and I got embarrassed in the moment. The compliment meant a lot to me. I was like, "Wow," but all these kids were looking at me like, ha ha. And so I said, kind of under my breath, but I think it was probably loud enough for you to hear, I was like, what kind of career is band director?
Well,
and I didn't even think.
And if I did hear that, I would have loved that. I would have been like, yeah. I would.
So if you heard that,
So
I'm
anyway.
so sorry, but because I did
That's all right.
almost become a band director. I was on the track and ended up going a different path. But I think I would have loved being a band director.
Well, yeah. I always said, I'm living the dream. This is my dream job. To work with kids and make music with them. It's great. So.
And to heck with what people say and think, right? I mean, by that point, I'm sure you've been made fun of for being in bands so many times. It just
I don't know when
rolls
but
off.
I've always been able to laugh at myself just as much as anybody else, and
That's good.
Possibly more than anybody else. So it's good. Yeah.
Awesome.
good.
So tell me a little bit more about your time at Orem Junior. And I know you're there for 25 years. We could do the whole podcast about your time at Orem Junior, but kind of give just a brief overview of that time there, and then talk about coming to Orem High School.
All right. Well, the good, bad, and the ugly. Let's start with the ugly of it, actually, because this is the part that always just hurt a little bit. That I would have liked to have had a different experience, right? And that was that it was the smallest school in our district. It was the most economically disadvantaged school in our district, and so. I always felt like I was making great things happen there and having great musical moments, but at near the end of every year we'd go to festival, and it always just was hard a little bit to see that no matter how good we how much better we got this year or compared to some previous years, that we still weren't as big as, we still weren't as good as like almost any other band pretty much that we encountered because we were significantly a smaller school.
Yeah.
And less money, and that stuff matters. That stuff it's easier to build a program with more student population, and with more money in the community, and with kids who are in more stable homes, with kids who all speak English, and all those things make a difference, right? So once that festival time every year would hurt. It was a little bit hard, but my wife always. Said, you're doing such great work for these kids. These kids need you, and but all the rest of the year, I just like going to work was like a party for me almost every day. There was the hard things you had to deal with, and it was stressful and stuff. But it was a fun job and a great life. But so that was the part about Orem Junior High School that was always a little bit hard, and I sometimes felt, I wish I could teach at a school that was double the size, more money with 80 kids that come in every year being like, hey, my mom got me this instrument from the music store, I'm ready to play, you know, because it was a much bigger fight.
Yeah.
But that taught me, so one of the good parts of that is it taught me all of the things that any teacher in the whole world might have to deal with. And so at the same time, I would see others, we would sometimes go to festivals outside the district and see other schools that had it way worse than we had it. That had even smaller, they had smaller band rooms, they had less instruments to use, they had kids that were even from less stable homes. And I saw that, I saw the bands out in the small towns, you know? And so I always felt a special love for those teachers who worked in those schools and the kids who were in those programs. So, it also made me work harder to help every kid be successful, because I couldn't afford to lose 20% or 30% of my kids that didn't stay caught up, that didn't stay with the program, you know. So I tried to reach out and make sure every kid had a chance, every kid learned their fingerings and their notes. And it was shocking to me how difficult that was my first few years. I thought if there was a book and if I talked about it and we did it several times, that the next day they'd come back and they'd remember that D is fourth position on a trombone or what, you know. And it was shocking to me how much repetition it took for your average kid to really get it and to get it fast. And then some kids, like with all that repetition, just still really struggled with just those basic things. It started me down this path to what I ultimately did was I made my own fingering charts that I thought made more sense, and then I made my own set of flashcards, and I thought I'm going to go ahead and go all out on this. I had read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. I knew that one way to make money, because I needed to make, you know, all music teachers or all teachers, public school teachers, have to have a side gig. Or unless if their spouse works and you have double income, you can get by. But if you're a single income family like I am, you know, eventually we had 7 children, and I knew I'd need some kind of side gig, right? So, and that book introduced me to the concept of passive income. You create a product and then it just sells, and the money just comes in, right? So, I thought this is something that I could make and sell, you know, on my own website. That this was the thing that was starting to happen at that time in the early 2000s. And I had bought, but at first I didn't want to make my own flashcards. I wanted to buy some. I thought this would be a good way to have the kids work with flashcards in class and at home to memorize their notes and fingerings, because that's the first basic problem that kids encounter, right? Teaching them to play notes on an instrument, like I can do that easier than helping every single kid memorize, when I see this note, I do this with my fingers, you know, and it's called E flat. So, because really quickly you find out that teaching band is all about sight reading. It's getting them to sight read new music. So anyway, so I found a set of flashcards. Like, awesome, I found these flashcards. So I bought them, but there was a couple things I really hated about them, just hated. First of all, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. First of all, each card you cut out had some weird like extra symbols on the side because they were imperfectly printed or whatever. Anyway, I wanted all the cards to be exactly the same size, and I wanted the edges to be clean. It didn't have every note on the instrument. It was missing certain notes, and there was no order to the notes, it seemed like to me. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to make this perfect flashcard system. So one summer I spent quite a bit of time digitizing all of, you know, treble clef, alto clef for the violas, and bass clef. I was teaching orchestra at this time as well, so. And so I made a set of flashcards with every instrument. They're numbered in a way that the band director can say, everyone get out flashcards 7 and 9. And then if the clarinet and the trombone player are in the same class, they both get out flashcard 7 and they play it, it'll sound the same. It's concert pitch, right? So I had a numbering system that worked with it, and I had some other things that made it like, where you could use it kind of as a card game. Nice. So anyway, so I made that, and that started selling, and that was and I started making a little money from that. I went to UMEA and had a booth and sold them there, and made a little extra money there. So but then a friend of mine said, Curtis, you got to make an app out of this. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, maybe. So my brother Anthony, he does computers for a living. He's a computer software engineer. So I said, have you ever wanted to make an app? He's like, actually, yes. I was like, well, good, here we go. So he said, your idea is way better than any of my ideas for an app, because nobody had an app out there yet that taught notes and fingerings, right? Or rhythms like this. So we made an app, and then now it's Ingenious Online. And so that's ballooned into something that has become a nice side gig for me with some extra income. So
it's one of those things where you're like, I can't find what I like, so I'm going to make it myself.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was. Because I wouldn't have ever started doing that path if someone else had done it well.
Yeah.
before me. So the good side of Orem Junior High is it taught me how to work in a hard situation. It taught me all the details I would need to help every kid, find a way to learn to read music.
Yeah.
So
now you were there for 25 years, so it wasn't like you were trying to get away the whole time. What was it about Orem Junior High that made you stay for so long?
Well, to be honest, my wife's encouragement to just stay and build that program. The administration was always good. I had no reason to leave because of administration. I loved every kid I worked with, and I knew there was great kids everywhere, right? But that was going well. Honestly, the geography made a big difference. We had built a house in Provo, and my wife always wanted to stay near BYU and near UVU, so that as our kids grew up, they didn't have to live in an apartment all the time. They could stay at home whenever they needed over summers, whatever, and go to UVU or BYU. And Orem Junior High was a 10-minute drive. So it was convenient the commute was convenient that way. But what really clinched it also was my wife homeschooled our kids.
Okay.
She was homeschooled herself, so our kids are second generation homeschooled. But she was homeschooled, but also went to high school and graduated from high school because she wanted the experiences to be in a choir and to have the high school experience.
Hard to do all that from home.
Yeah. So our oldest kid got to junior high age, and so he came to Orem Junior High where I taught, was in my band, and picked another class or two and just took 2 classes, I think, his first year.
What instrument did he end up playing?
Trumpet. He did trumpet, yeah. And then the next year he took 4 classes, just every other day he came to Orem Junior High. And then third year, full-time 9th grader. Okay. And so that he could be a full-time high school, And that system was awesome. We loved it. So all the kids came to Orem Junior High and then went to Mountain View to graduate. Okay. And so that made it hard to leave Orem Junior High. We had kids that had these friend groups and this system that worked great because they loved their experiences doing that. So coming to Orem High School was perfect. That was the one part of it that was hard. We had our daughter Audrey was at Orem Junior High, and she had one more year to do at Orem Junior High. So I was leaving her. And she would for some other band director to come there. Plus I was going to Orem High School where none of her siblings had gone.
Because they'd gone to Mountain View.
Right, yeah. And nobody from Orem Junior High comes to Orem High School, actually. So none of her friends would be coming to Orem High. If she was going to come to me at Orem High School, she'd have to find all new friends,
Yeah.
So it was hard for her and hard for me to make this decision, but it worked out great. She decided to come to Orem High School, and she found an awesome group of friends here in the band program. Good. And so it turned out to work out great. But leaving Orem Junior High for several of those different reasons was not something that we tried to do.
Yeah. Well, I personally am very grateful for your time there. I was there right at the very beginning, and that was it. But you've touched many, many lives, mine included. And so thank you for the work you did at Orem Junior and for staying that long. Because I think a lot of people naturally feel like, well, I want bigger and better. And I think it takes a very dedicated person to stay and build a program, especially one that's disadvantaged in many ways. So,
I mean, I had the geographic and the children in the school issue to stay there, but without those, I would have obviously wanted to move to a bigger, better, easier easier situation.
Yeah.
It's easier to not have to recruit so hard to try to make
Right.
kids stay, you know?
Yeah.
So your program is barely competent, you know,
Yeah.
enough students in it. And so, yeah, most people don't stay very long. They do hop as soon as they can to a bigger school or a newer school or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I really admire those teachers that do that,
Yeah.
stay and build a program. And I want to help them in every way I possibly can. So
Yeah. I'm joined now by junior woodwind captain, Trix Spackman. Trix, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, of course.
So I'd like you to tell me about your journey through the Orem High School marching band program.
Okay, so I started doing band in 6th grade, and my sister had been doing band for a few more years than me, so she was part of the marching band, and so I joined the marching band because it looked fun.
Yeah.
And I joined it in 6th grade doing the parade season, where I marched in a few parades. It was hot.
Were there a lot of other 6th graders in the parade, or was it
I
just
was the
you?
only one.
Wow. How
Yeah.
was that?
I'm used to being the youngest, so
Okay.
it's not a big deal for me.
Yeah.
I started on alto saxophone, and then through 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, I didn't do parade season, but starting in 9th grade, I did the fall season, or like the show season,
Okay.
where we perform on a football field. And then last year and this year, I'm also doing the summer band as well as the fall band. And last year, I participated in the winter guard.
Awesome. What's the difference between summer band and fall band here at Orem?
Summer band is mostly just parades, and the fall is shows and like on a football field.
Gotcha. Do you guys perform at the football games?
A few of them, yeah.
Okay. So not every single one.
Not
but
every
just
single
a few.
one. There's so many.
Yeah. How many shows, fall shows have you been part of at Orem?
This is my 2nd year doing it. I don't know exactly the number, but
Yeah.
I've been doing it for 2 years.
Okay. So you'll have some that don't do fall, for example, and you'll have some that don't do summer,
Yeah.
but it's kind of the same group. Okay. Okay.
You can also only do fall starting in 9th grade. So
Gotcha. Okay. But they've had as young as 6th graders doing the summer one, because I'm assuming they kind of have to get whoever they can. So it's, yeah, awesome. What was the marching band season, the fall season, like last year when you were still combined with students from other schools?
So last year we were still combined with Mountain View, and it was really great because I went to Mountain View last year.
Oh,
I'm going
cool.
here this year, but I really like all the people from Mountain View, and I'm really sad that we split. It should grow both of the programs, but
Yeah.
it's still sad.
Yeah.
I really like having a slightly bigger band, and I really liked having a lot of my friends that I've had through the years
Oh,
in
yeah.
marching band with me.
Yeah. Yeah, that can definitely be a sad thing. It's like you want things to grow in both schools, but it's like you're going to miss some of your friends. What's it been like so far with this year where it's just Orem High School students?
So it's been not too different, but I do miss a lot of the people that are like graduated or going to Mountain View. And it's still a really fun group, don't get me wrong. And I wish we had some of the people that we had last year still.
Yeah. You said that you were an assistant drum major as well last year.
Yes.
Talk about that experience.
So during the, like before summer season, I auditioned to be drum major, and I did all of the conducting stuff. I had to write an essay, and then the results came out, and I was the assistant drum major. The drum major was a senior. It makes sense, of course. I'm not offended in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And he did a great job. So I was mostly just in charge of the band when he was gone, or if he was doing something else. And during the fall season, I conducted part of the show when he
Very
was
cool.
doing a solo on trumpet.
Oh, okay, okay. Are there just 2 drum majors on the field, or is it just one usually?
Usually it's 1 or 2.
Okay.
Last year we had 1, and then we would trade off at some point.
Because he had a solo
Yeah.
that he'd play.
The year before there were 2 of us.
Okay. So this year, being your junior year, are you going to be involved with the drum majors as well?
I'm not a drum major this year, but I am hoping to be one next year.
Okay. Awesome. Have you started learning the music for the show this year?
I already have the first and second movements memorized.
Okay. What do you think of it?
I really like it. It's pirate themed and it's really fun. I have a solo in the second movement.
Ooh, awesome. Okay. Well, we look forward to seeing you do your solo then. What would you say to a band student, maybe a friend that was thinking about joining marching band? What would you say to them to kind of push them to the right place?
I'd probably say that they should at least give it 1 or 2 days, because it's really fun and it might not always look that way from the outside, but it is so fun and so worth it in my opinion.
Good. Super easy, simple. What's it been like working with Mr. Winters?
So I've known Mr. Winters since like 5th grade because he was my junior high teacher for 1 year. He was
So you
my
went
sister's.
to Orem Junior?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, my sister went there first, and so I met him pretty early on, and I really liked doing band with him, and so it was really sad the next year when he was replaced by a different teacher,
Yeah.
and I'm really glad to get to work with him again next year.
Awesome. What do you like about having him as the director?
It's hard to say. I really like how he interacts with like students, and I like the way he teaches. It clicks with my brain.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Trix, thank you so much for joining me. Hope you have a great time this fall, and good luck with marching band.
Thank you.
We're joined now by Color Guard Director Kristen Cummings. Kristen, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So you've been here at Orem now for 7 years. This is your 8th year.
Yeah, this will be my 8th season with Orem Marching Band.
Awesome. Can you tell me what it's been like? Up to this point, you guys have been combined with students from other schools. and
Yes.
You're kind of moving into your first year as the Orem High School Marching Band.
Yes. So when I joined in 2019, I started with, I was told that there was only 1 student, and then we went to 5. We were with Mountain View, which is just down the road from here.
Yeah.
They did not have a marching band for quite a long time. I think it was over 25 years. I brought them through COVID, and then Matt Tippett was the original band director, and he was really great. And then he pursued a really awesome opportunity, and Curtis Winters came in. At that time, all 3 high schools, Orem, Mountain View, and Timpanogos, decided to do one big combined band, and we were known as the Orem City Marching Band. So we did that for a few years, and then Timpanogos decided to go with their own marching band again, and we stayed with Mountain View. And then this last year, they ended up getting their own band director who decided he wanted to have his own marching band, which is so great.
Yeah.
So now Mountain View has their band, and we have our band. And to see the growth from last year to this year with the Orem students is really awesome.
Yeah. So it's grown probably, I think Mr. Winters was saying it was around 16 Orem High students last year. Now it's like close to 30 now.
Yes. Yeah. So we've almost doubled, which is great, which tells me that if we're having that kind of growth, it just means that just solely as Orem High School, we just have a lot more room to grow, and we'll continue pushing forward, which will be really exciting. It'll be fun to see that.
That's awesome.
that happen.
Tell me a little bit about your experience in the marching arts, even before you got to Orem.
So I was actually born and raised in Portland, Oregon, and that's where I started my color guard career, was at high school in Oregon. We were both the dance company and the color guard, so I got both dance and color guard training simultaneously. I did that for 3 years in high school. Then I came here to Utah to go to school, and I started with, they were known as UVU and Vision. They were an independent winter guard team that was with the university. So I was with them for a few years. I did drum corps with the Blue Knights Drum and Bugle Corps out in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, awesome.
That was really fun. I did that in 2008. And that year at finals, we ended up in 9th place. So it was super fun.
Yeah.
Then I came back and I was with a couple of independent teams. I spent my independent age out year with Urban Expressions from Salt Lake City. Unfortunately, they no longer exist, but I helped make history by being a part of the first Utah team to go to Worlds and make finals.
Wow.
We took 13th that year, and top 15 go to finals at Worlds. And then I have just been in and out of performing. I officially retired from performing in 2013 and just have been coaching. I've coached with several schools. And yeah, now I'm here at Orem, and it's super fun.
What other schools have you worked at?
I worked with Payson High School. I was the assistant director there for 4 years. I worked with Lehigh High School for 2 years, and then I've just landed here.
What do you like about being at Orem High School?
I think I really like the culture and the community here. It's a very student-driven program, and we continue to have it student driven. I've been with programs where it wasn't always student driven, and that's how they work their programs. But here it's very, Mr. Winters has always said we're focusing on the students. That's our main topic. And honestly, I think that the kids are great. There's a lot of support for music and the arts in general at this school. So now it's just our job to continue pushing that support forward and just seeing how the kids react to marching band. They all seem to love it, so I'm having fun.
Has Mr. Winters talked to you about his hope to continue recruiting and some of the challenges that he's faced with recruiting?
Yes, we do face a lot of challenges. So our district will split next year, but as of right now, we currently have 2 junior highs that feed into our high school, and neither one of them give us 100% of their students. So we have to be extremely strategic about how we recruit at each school. I believe he had released a study recently that showed that most of the high schools in the Alpine School District, other than Timpanogos, Mountain View, and Orem, do have a junior high that has a 100% feeding into their school.
Yeah.
We don't get that luxury. And especially when we were combined with Mountain View, we had to recruit to 3 junior highs.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of recruiting to
Yeah.
do. And not all of them are super close. And so you have to really plan out your day and figure out who you need to cater to. Orem Junior is 50-50 Mountain View and Timpanogos. So when we were combined, we had to really work with Timpanogos as well to say, we've got some students who are interested in marching band, but they're not coming here. So having schools that don't have 100% here, or we have to figure out where majority of our kids are coming from, how they heard about us. Recruiting can be a little bit of a challenge, but we try to make it work. We do the best that we can to contact as many of the admin and band directors at the junior highs as possible.
Awesome. What are you looking forward to the most for this 2026 marching band season?
I'm excited for our show, and our kids are very excited for our show. It's very fun, and I'm just excited to see the kids invest. I do believe that the kids were invested in previous years, but I feel like this is the first year where, now that we're making a name for just ourselves at Orem High School, they get to fully invest in the show, they get to decide how the show goes, and they get to see the magic happen, and we as staff get to help them. I always say see the magic. I tell all the kids, once we give you everything, it's now your job to make it just be amazing, and they're all very excited, and I'm excited to see them have that joy in music. So I think that's going to be the funnest part about this.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to see the band this year, and thank you so much for your time. I hope good luck with the season.
Thank you.
We're joined now by junior drum major Gemma Brando. Gemma, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me about what it's like to be the drum major here at Orem High School.
It's really fun. I really enjoy being in charge and being able to get to know the band on a one-on-one level. Being section leader, it's easier just to get to know your section, but as drum major, you get to know everyone, and everyone kind of looks at you, so you kind of have this responsibility for the entire band. And so I think it's really fun. I love everyone here. They're all really great people.
Nice. Tell me about your section, what section you come from.
I come from the low woodwind section because we don't have enough saxophones, just have saxophones. I was section leader last year, and I loved being section leader. They were great. And so I'm kind of one with the woodwinds. They're kind of my family, but the brass are great too.
What's it been like so far, transitioning from being a combined band with students from other schools to now being just Orem High School?
It's really different. All of my really close friends were at that other school, and I actually went to that other school. I transferred here for this year to do marching band here. And it's been really different because there's all these new people. Most of us are new. All of the vets that I had that were really good friends of mine, I don't really see them anymore. So it's been a bit of a transition. I was a little nervous, but I think coming here a few times and getting to know the new people has really made me feel more like I'm really happy to be here, and I'm okay that all my really good friends aren't here as well.
How do you feel about them? And I'm assuming you're talking about Mountain View High School. They're starting their own band program. What do you feel about that for your friends?
I'm really happy for them. I'm glad that they get to have their chance to have their own band program. I mean, they seem like they're doing a really great job. I mean, I live pretty close to Mountain View, so I can hear their rehearsals
Yeah.
not far from my house. But yeah, from what I hear, they're doing a really great job. They're progressing well, and I just hope that we can have that same future someday.
That's awesome.
So.
Talk about last year's marching band show and how you felt about it.
I personally loved it. There were a lot of things that people didn't like, but I guess I just look at the bright side. I mean, I had so much fun all the time. State was actually the best thing ever for me. That's kind of what like really solidified a lot of my friendships in band.
Yeah.
And so marching band's always given me friends, and marching band last year gave me all the friends that I needed in band. And so the directors, I mean, I got along well with the directors. I mean, I had really fun all the time. And I loved the music. The music was very fun to play, and I actually played Barry for the first movement,
Oh, okay.
which was an experience. And then for the rest of them, I played alto, and I was really happy that my director let me do that.
So you got to switch in this
Yeah.
during the show. You got to switch from Barry to
yeah, you can see
alto.
me walking up to the front and trading
Okay.
saxophones and walking back. So
Coming into this year in 2026, what are you most excited about for this year?
I think I'm just excited to, see their progress. I mean, I think it'll be really cool to see how they grow and to be able to grow myself. And I feel like that's what marching band's all about, is growing and seeing each other grow and kind of just coming together as a band. And I don't know, I guess there's just a few things where I'm just like, yeah, like I feel like we're off to a great start so far for first year having our own band and forever. And I don't know, I'm just excited for competitions, for hopefully we get to go to state. And just all that stuff I'm excited for.
Awesome.
So,
What's it been like working with Mr. Winters now that you're the drum major?
it's definitely been different. I definitely feel like I have more of responsibility, where I kind of have to actually be more responsible, I guess. And not that I'm super irresponsible, it's just that ever so slight pressure.
Yeah.
But Winters is a great person to work with. I mean, he's a very great band director. My siblings had him. I had him in
cool.
7th grade. So
Yeah.
I like him as a band director, and I think he's very great. And I deem him very wise personally. So I think he's very fun to work with, and he's very a chill person. He doesn't like it. He doesn't yell at you for doing something stupid, which I appreciate.
As drum major, what are you hoping to see from the band this year?
Definitely communication between each other and the staff, and collaboration all together, between sections and working together just consistently. And I guess just growing as a whole band and all becoming good friends, and just definitely just collaboration, everyone working together and changing.
Gemma, thank you so much for joining me. Best of luck with the marching band season this year.
Thank you.
Thanks. I'm joined now by sophomore brass captain Daxton Cornelis. Daxton, thank you for joining me
Of
today.
course, yeah.
So Daxton, is this your second year in the marching band?
This is my first year in marching band.
First year in the marching
Yeah.
band. Tell me what it's been like so far.
Honestly, it's just been super fun. I came into this expecting just to be and not enjoy it, because I've heard a bunch of horror stories from a bunch of other people, oh, band camp sucks and you'll never want to do this. But I just started doing it, and it's just something I loved, and I just kept doing it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Have you ever played the mellophone before?
No, I've not played the mellophone before.
Did you start on French horn?
I started on clarinet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Tell me about your early music experiences.
Well, I started, I wanted to play saxophone because my brother had a saxophone, but then my band director in junior high told me I had to play clarinet first, and I was like, okay. And then I fell in love with clarinet
Nice.
over those 3 years I was in junior high.
Okay.
And then along the way, I learned flute, oboe, basically everything.
Wow.
Yeah. And I always thought it'd be really fun to be in marching band, but you can't really hear clarinet, and I thought mellophone would be really fun because I've been playing French horn for about 2 years then too. So
Jeez, you're learning every
everything.
instrument.
Yeah, my goal is to be a band director.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're well on your way.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've already learned that many instruments, that's incredible. What do you think it was that made you so interested in learning all those instruments?
I think it was just having the ability to make something, be able to put something out into the world. Because if you don't do any hobbies, you're just sitting there all day doing nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you make music, you can put music out into the world and stream it, or do a concert or anything. I just
Yeah.
like making people happy with my music. I really enjoy that.
That's beautiful. Well, great job. I love that you're doing that. What do you like about the mellophone that you haven't experienced before with instruments?
I like the marchability of it,
Yeah.
I also just like the parts mostly, because like you always get like cool counter melodies and the melody and rips. I love horn rips.
Yeah.
And like you play like everything. Like you play the trumpet part, you play the tuba part. It's just whatever they need in that moment.
Yeah. So this being your first time in the marching band, what has your experience been so far?
I feel like everyone's super welcoming, because the entire brass section this year is brand new. None of us have marched before. So, and like all the veterans from like the last couple of years are like super welcoming.
That's
like
good.
literally today I brought in someone new, and like a bunch of people came up and like shook his hand and got to know him more. So
Imagine if everybody just brought someone new
Yeah.
to marching band. Is this a friend that has done band before?
yeah, this is my friend. He plays trombone,
Okay.
but
So he's accustomed to
Yeah.
band in general, just not marching band.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you looking forward to the most about this season?
I'm just looking forward to being with everyone and like making new friends, honestly.
Yeah. What do you think of the music for the show so far?
I really like it. It's got a lot of really hard horn parts that are always fun. So
Yeah. But you're up to the challenge.
I'm always up to it. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm just blown away by how
Yeah.
many instruments you've. How old were you when you first started clarinet?
I was a 7th grader. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've done all of that since 7th grade.
Yeah.
Is all. Wow. How many instruments total can you play?
I think I read 26.
26.
Yeah.
Can you name? The
I have a
instruments you
list.
play?
Yeah.
I'd love for you to tell me what instruments you play.
So we got piccolo, flute, oboe, bassoon, clarinet, alto, tenor, bari, French horn, trumpet, baritone, trombone, bass trombone, tuba, drums, piano, guitar, bass, banjo. Yeah, I think that's it.
Banjo. I love that. Have you found any one instrument to be more challenging than others?
Oboe and bassoon.
Yeah.
I usually like to say oboe's harder because it usually just plays the flute part, and the flute part's always usually really hard. And like the oboe, like it requires so much control. Like if anyone wanted to do a double read, I'd definitely say do bassoon, because like the parts are a lot easier and it's a lot more beginner friendly. Like bassoon is harder, yes, but the parts are a lot easier and I have an easier time in band. Well, the thing is, if it like rains or something, then your reeds are all ruined and you have to make new ones. It's just like any change ever.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's so interesting hearing, like, I would expect to hear a band director say these things, and I'm hearing it from a sophomore in high school. So, well, I'm really interested to see where your career goes, and hopefully one day I'll be interviewing you and you'll be a band director.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for your time,
Of course,
Daxton,
yeah.
and good luck with this year.
All right, yeah.
I'm joined now by junior center snare Jason Adams. Jason, thank you for joining me
Hi.
today.
Nice to be here.
Is this your first year in the marching band, or have you been in
No,
before?
I've been in the marching band for the past 2 years, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your experience been like up to this point?
It's been great. I love marching band. It's so much fun. I love the atmosphere of it and play music. It's so much fun.
And you've been under Mr. Winters for the whole time that you've been here. What's it like with Mr. Winters?
I think he's a great teacher. He teaches very fast pace, which I like, because I've had directors in the past just like go super slow and teaching things, but he likes to get things going, move things along so we can get to better, cooler stuff.
Yeah,
So it's
awesome.
been great. Yeah.
What have some of your favorite moments been in the marching band here at Orem?
At the last competition, we go down to St. George for I think it's called like Red Rocks competition or something. It's super fun to go like down as a band and just basically party it up there for like a night, and then do the competition, just put our freaking like hearts out onto the field, and then come home and just chill. That's like the best part of marching band. That's what I look forward to.
Yeah.
Just very fun.
What's it been like so far this year, where it's the first time that you've been just the Orem High School marching band?
It's been weird. but it's just because we're so much like smaller than we've been in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
But it's been cool. It's been like cool that all the people are from Orem, and I get to like know everyone, get to go to school with them instead of like having some people from like Mountain View that I don't know as well, but only know them from band.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
are there friends that you had at other schools that you're missing this year?
yeah, I mean, I actually have a girlfriend that goes to Mountain View that was in the band, but we split, so we don't get to be in the band. But yeah, I've got a whole bunch of friends. I've got like 2 friends on the snare line there. Whole bunch of band friends there, so
yeah.
So
it's kind of bittersweet. You're happy for them that they get their own program,
Yeah.
but you miss them being here.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about for 2026?
I like that we are the Orem High band. Like I feel like that's so cool. When I was like a kid, I always wanted to do something for Orem High, like a sport or something.
Yeah.
But like being an Orem High, like band kid, I guess, marching band. It's really cool, and like I'm excited to like have Mr. Winters run the rehearsals because I like how he teaches and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jason, thank you so much for joining me. Good
Thank
luck
you.
with this year.
Yeah.
Coming into Orem High School, tell me what the marching band ecosystem was like when you took the job 3 years ago.
Yeah, well, the majority of the kids did not want to do marching band, and it's hard to figure out why, because they won't be honest with you to your face, even one-on-one. Like they're afraid of your judgment or whatever. So
Right.
so they won't really tell you what they're thinking. So, but my sense is, number one, marching band it's a lot of extra work. And it's just not worth all the extra work. It's just not worth it for the payoff or whatever, right? So that's part of the thing. Number two, a lot of the kids were doing swimming or cross country, and they were highly devoted to their swim team every day and their cross country team every day. So they didn't have room in their life or schedule for marching band because of that, right?
Gotcha.
And then number three, they saw it as something that was more like artsy and not just fun and cool. Like, it just wasn't, just didn't have that cool factor or that fun factor to make them want to do it. But honestly, a big part of that is that they didn't have friends that did it, really. You get a certain critical mass of people in marching band, and then their friends are like, oh, you're in it? Yeah, I'll do it too. Because people want to be with their friends. They don't want to go to a group that's with a bunch of strangers and get to know them, right?
It becomes a matter of building up to that critical mass, right?
Yeah, so at some point, and I don't know if it was 10 or 15 years ago or 20 years ago, at some point, the interest in marching band here at Orem, because Orem High had a huge marching program in the early 2000s and mid 2000s.
I do remember one of my friends at Orem Junior, her older brother had come here from Orem Junior to be in the marching band, and Jennifer Adams, if you remember Jennifer.
Yeah.
I
Right.
think I don't know if she I think she did, but they came to Orem specifically to be in the marching band.
Yeah,
and that
right.
would have been in, right around the year 2000 or so.
That's cool. So it was kind of a draw for marching band for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and every band director, like, blood, sweat, and tears, works hard for their program to try to keep it or build it or make it awesome. So I know every director here has given their all and been awesome, and lots of kids have loved each director that's been here. But at some point, the marching band became more dominated. It became big here, and it became even bigger, I think, because Mountain View didn't have a marching band. So Mountain View kids came here also. So it was Orem Marching Band for like 20 or 25 years. It was
Rather
kind
than
of
the
combined.
high school, it was an Orem City community.
Yeah, and they call it the
marching
Orem
band.
High School Marching Band, but the Mountain View kids who wanted to do it just came and were in the Orem Marching Band. So it was still the Orem High Marching Band.
Yeah.
And they just did the show season. And so for a while it was Orem High had 40 kids, and then Mountain View contributed 20 or whatever. But at some point it got lopsided, and the Orem numbers went down and Mountain View kids went up. And there was factors between feeder schools, because I think the Lake Ridge band director somehow inspire the kids more to want to do marching band. But Orem High only gets a small percentage of Lake Ridge, and most of them go to Mountain View. So they'd see marching band, they'd like marching band, they would go to Mountain View and they'd be in the Orem marching band, right? Whereas the Canyon View band director, where we get most of our kids come from, he was really into jazz band. And so somehow they didn't get that interest in marching band there. So they'd come and they'd want to keep playing jazz band here or wind symphony. And so at some point the Mountain View student population of the marching band became greater than the Orem High School. And until it became really tiny. Like I said, when I came, there was 8 Orem kids in the marching band and like 25 or so from Mountain View. And then there was some from Timpanogos as well, because we'd combined 3 ways for a couple of years. My goal was build a marching band. So I'd ask frequently, like, why aren't you doing marching band? Why? And they're like, oh, I'm just not interested. I'm just, but so the core reason why is hard to know, but I think that friend factor probably is one of the biggest factors actually. So if half of them would just do it, just decide I'm going to do it, then it would start building naturally that way, right? So we're hoping to get there. And this year, my 3rd year here, we had 16 Orem kids in marching band. That's progress. And this year we have 29 kids in marching band, all Orem, because this year Mountain View has started their own marching band for the first time in forever, or at least 30 years. I don't know if they had one before the 90s.
Wow.
I don't think so.
This year's going to be their first?
Their first, because I think when they opened, sometime in the 80s, they didn't have a marching band. So neither did Orem High School, I think at that time. And then Orem started one. And so I think they never had one there.
My dad was in the first graduating class in Mountain View, so I think it was 82.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
81 or 82 is when it opened. But yeah, that is fascinating that they're starting their own. So that's going to leave you. What about Timpanogos? So do they have a program, or are they just going to?
So when Timpanogos was built, the first teacher was she was an oboe player and she didn't love marching band. So she only taught band there, band, jazz, orchestra, the essential ones. And so when the next director, when she left after maybe 8 or 10 years there, and she went and became the director of bands at BYU, Idaho. Diane Solberg is her name. She was awesome. Like, she had a great program there, but not marching. So the next person that they hired wanted to start a marching band and did, after a couple years, started a marching band. It was, small as 15 or 12 or 20, something in that range. And so the Timpanogos marching band has always been kind of small. No director. They've had 4 or 5 band directors since then, and no one's ever been able to really somehow get it to grow very big. So they had the idea though of combining the 3 schools into one, and I thought that was a promising idea, but it never really took off. Like the student numbers stayed the same, about 40 to 50. 3 high schools, only 40, 50 students. So anyway, so Timpanogos a year ago started their own, or went back to their own, and then this year Mountain View started their own. So now we have 3 separate programs, and
that's really cool. And I think it's good for schools to have their own individual programs. But I can see each one of them is going to have very, very small programs, at least to start. So you're all
but some, like I heard a mom tell me a couple years, I think my first year, second year here at Orem High School, a mom told me, my kid's going to come, he's going to be in the band next year, but he doesn't want to be in a city marching band. He wants to only be in like a Orem High School marching band. And I've pushed in lots of different ways. I've tried to make marching band appealing and cool and fun. And I'm glad to see we're making progress. Not as much progress as I'd like. Obviously, every band director wants to come in and see things just explode with enthusiasm and numbers, but it's great to see an all Orem band of 29 this year. And and I mean, so yes, I would love for it to be a 60-piece Orem High School marching band someday, but I'm trying to be happy with 29. I'm trying to just love it and make it look like this. Like, if it stays a 30-piece marching band for the rest of my career, I can be happy with that. Like, I'm trying to feel that way, but really I do want more.
I get it. You can make the best 30-piece marching band possible. Right. Tell me about your show, what it's called, and what it's going to be like.
Well, last year I wrote the music for our own show. I arranged a bunch of Holst and wrote some of my own stuff to do kind of a planet-themed show. And I'd done lots of jazz arranging before, never did marching band before, and it was great. It was fun. I mean, it was a good year. The music turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
Did I learn a lot from it? Of course, yes. Would I do it again? Maybe if I could be paid more.
Yeah.
But this year I wanted to go ahead and just buy music for a show, but it had to be affordable. So I asked my principal, and she put in some extra money to buy a $2,000 show.
That's great.
From Fanon Music, and so I was listening. It's all I did for a couple months in my spare time was listen to marching band shows on the internet.
Yeah.
And I listened to probably 30 or 40 shows, and this is the only one I really loved because it had enough difficulty and meat to it, but also had a fun element to it. It had a lot of exciting moments.
Yeah.
I will never want to do a show called like loneliness or feelings or anything, or you know, rain or anything like that. I want to do a show that has a little more that has a little more of a noun to it. So in this case, it's X marks the spot. It's a pirate themed show, and it's a search for a treasure, and then fighting between infighting over the treasure. Anyway, so it's got a little bit of a storyline to it, but really the music just inspired me from the beginning.
Nice.
It's great music, and
Pirate themes are winners
okay.
every time.
Okay, and I'll always want my costuming to have a little bit of a fun or cool edge to it also. I will never want to put my kids in yellow and pink or whatever like that, it's polka dots. And I just can't do that. I know that wins. Sometimes those are winning costumes, right? First
American
place.
Fork made finals with a polka dot uniform.
Yes, I know, but I will never do that myself. So the school dance team can wear that kind of stuff. I don't want my marching band to be seen quite as that artsy of an endeavor. So
yes,
anyway.
and that lines up with your with what you've seen as maybe a hindrance to people joining the band, is that they see it as more of an artsy thing, and so that aligns with kind of what you're trying to do for recruiting. I get it.
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, pirate costuming is always can be cool in lots of different ways and fun in lots of different ways. So we're not sure what the band's going to wear exactly yet, but so we bought the music, and we have a new director coming into Canyon View. I loved the old one who was leaving. He was a good friend of mine. The new one coming in really loves marching band and wants to be a part of working with this marching band here. So that's exciting.
And what is his name?
His name is Dylan Hansen.
Dylan Hansen. Okay.
Yeah. So he is writing the drill for us.
Cool.
And it's almost all done. He's doing a great job with it. So that's how we put our show together. We got some great music. We got some great people on the staff working with it, and the drill done right here in house. So
yeah.
That
is the really cool thing, though. Doing as much of it in house, it does. I guess you feel a sense of ownership in more ways than you would, having a lot of people, not in house doing it.
Yep, that's true.
So, being at a school that has a smaller program, I think that you probably have some very unique perspectives on the competition aspect of marching band in Utah. I was wondering if you could just talk about that for a little bit. Tell me your thoughts.
Oh, that's a great setup, because it is true that my philosophy was developed probably as teaching at Orem Junior High School. We, at the junior high level, festivals are usually done on a district basis, right? And so always being the smallest school was no fun, right? And I always wished if we could compete against other small schools and rural schools, like we would have been one of the best almost every year, almost like a cakewalk, And so I always felt like competition should be between equals as much as possible. It's just unfair for a small school and the only Title I school in the district to be at the same festival as a school 3 times its size with a lot more money and no Spanish speakers. You know what I mean? So that's part of probably the philosophy I have now at the high school with the marching bands. So I feel that we should feel a commitment as band directors to care about it being fair. Most high school directors claim to care about fairness and the competitions are fair and that nobody has an unfair advantage. But they don't live that way. They don't really feel that way. Band directors want to win at all costs, it seems, because when we present things, we have a band director meeting once a year at the end of the marching band season, to consider rules and things like that. And I don't think fairness is what they care about. They care about what will give me the most advantage next year, so I can win. I can get first place trophy easily. And it's so funny. We all act so nice to each other and supportive, but inside we're like, I hope you lose. I hope I win. Like, it's really kind of cutthroat, it feels like, which is sad. I mean, it is human nature, of course. We all want to win, but that's the way it seems to be, even on the board of UMEA. Do they really care about fairness? I don't think so. I don't know. If they do care about it, which might be true, they don't understand the complexities of making it more fair. So anyway, so that's my little rant about that. And I presented to this last meeting this last year about fairness, and I showed, using statistical analysis, that your score is more impacted by the size of your band than it is by the size of your school. Theoretically, if your school is big, your band's going to be better because you're drawing on more students to take the best or whatever, you know. And so marching band competitions are set up by school size, like it's almost entirely school size, not band size. And everyone acknowledges that band size makes a difference. But right now, the rules are, if your school is a certain size, you have to compete against other schools of a similar size, no matter where.
Rather than a band of a similar size.
Rather than a band of similar size, exactly. So, but they say that we make that more fair by having all of the 5A schools. They do divide it, once everyone's in a 5A division, they do divide it, they do classify it. So they have a classification. Well, the biggest bands compete open and the smaller bands compete scholastic. So they do that, right? So the smaller bands are together in one subdivision of that group, which on its face value sounds pretty reasonable, right? But in practice, it's unfair to a lot of schools. So I try to have them change a rule to make band size have a greater impact on where you compete or which division you compete in, and it didn't pass. Even though lots of people, like everyone saw that the data was good, but they didn't feel like voting to make a real change was worth it because they don't care enough about fairness for all, really. They care about fairness in general, but not for all. So that's kind of my rant about that. The way it impacts us is that we've been a combined marching band for many years, and they made a rule 3 or 4 years ago that combined bands have to. It used to be that whatever the majority of school was, that you competed as that division of that school, right?
So if more students from Mountain View were in the band, you go by Mountain View's school size?
Right, you go by their school size. But then they made the rule that if 20% or more of your marching band is made up of any other high school, then you have to combine the school size, the two school sizes. So if you have 2 4A schools, you're competing all of a sudden 6A. Okay. Right? I would understand maybe 5A, but anyway, we had to compete 6A with a tiny band for 3 years, and it was very, very unfair. You can't win a single trophy like that, you know, just because your band size was 49, and the next bigger band was 65. So you have a competitive chance against them maybe, but then it's 70, and they had bands up to 90. And even though 50 is a good size marching band, 90 will win every time, unless they're a really bad 90-piece band. But half the kids can be bad, and they'll still sound equal to or better than your 50-piece band because the numbers. You got twice as many trumpets, twice as many clarinets, and whatever, right? So anyway, so that's how I felt that was unfair. So this year, finally, we're competing 4A. And so finally, I feel like for the first time in my time as a high school director, we actually have a chance to win some trophies, and I think we will.
Yeah. You presented at UMEA at the band directors meeting. They didn't pass it. Are you planning to continue to push this issue? And, you know, because I know that sometimes things don't get passed a lot, and then eventually they do, you know.
That's a great question, yeah. Do I want to? Yes, I want to push it every year and keep pushing it because I care about the kids in the small schools and the small towns, you know. And I feel like more band directors might do a marching band if they felt like they had a chance to go and win a trophy once in a while.
Yeah.
So I will. So yes, I want to push it, but do I have time to do it? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I have time to do that. I feel passionate about it, but it takes time to prepare and to gather data. And what I realize is you have to get kind of a coalition. It would help if I had one person on the board that I could talk to and convince that this is worth changing and hear what their perspective is first and say, okay, let's compromise. How about this? Do you think this would pass? Like I need to get kind of a sense for what the board would support in the first place.
Yeah.
And then get a few other directors on my side together. That could make a difference, could pass. But so one of the big problems we have now still is that 5A, if you compete 5A, you've got 7 bands in the lower division or whatever it's called, classification, and you have 8 in the top. So you're competing against 7 bands against 8 bands. I think this last year there was 11 bands. You're competing against 11 bands in the 5A lower group. So 11 bands. Well, if you compete 4A, you're only competing against, I think last year it was like maybe 5.
Wow.
So you have a much higher chance to win something if you're competing against 5 people instead of 11 or 7 or 9.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why they continue to let that go that way. Why don't they care that in 3A there's only 3 schools? Every band competing 3A wins a trophy. I mean, yay, that's good, but it just seems weird and unfair to have. So there's a certain point where you like kind of want to go teach at a small school because you can win first place awards every year if you're good at it. So
the prevailing narrative among band directors, I think, is it's not about the trophies, and bravo, you know, honestly, it's it's not about winning or that. However, I've talked to several band directors now in this project that the trophies are what draw more interest to the program as well. You know, if you've got a band that's won a state championship the last 5 years, for example, that's a big draw, and people want to be part of a winning program. So while it's not about the hardware can definitely help with building the program.
it's part of the equation that's necessary to build a really good big program. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, is it about the winning? In fact, I had a kid today ask me, well, I thought you told us last year it's not about winning. Well, that's because last year we had 0 chance to win anything. But this year we have a chance. So it always is about the winning, right? So, and we win both ways. We win, you know, empirically, or what's the word? We win inside.
Intrinsically?
We win intrinsically by having, I think that's the word I was looking for. We win intrinsically by having a great experience and creating a great product and rising above where we were, right? But we also win extrinsically, and everything in the world around us is saying, yes, you have to win. You have to win elections. You have to win games. You have to win in the World Cup. You have to win in Olympics. Everything's about being the best. And so obviously we do have to, that's part of the equation that we have to care about. We can push one more or the other, right? But it's always there. And at the end of every marching band competition, they give out awards. And if your band is never mentioned, it's going to affect the way your kids feel about your program.
Absolutely.
That was a good question.
That was incredible. And, you know, I don't think that most of us hear enough about the small band programs and the challenges that are facing them. And whether it's a matter of people caring enough or not, I think it's just reality. The smaller programs are dealing with things that the directors at larger programs don't need to worry about.
They don't need to worry about it, right? So
if you don't need to worry about it, it's like out of sight, out of mind. You're focused on your program. I get that. And so I sincerely would say to you, keep up the good fight, because I think that there are a lot of small programs and directors that agree with you. And I think disagreements and debates are a great way of pushing the activity forward. So please continue to do what you're doing. I know it takes a lot of time, but I hope you get that coalition. Like I said, I know plenty of these larger school directors, and they're amazing people, and there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. But I think that this debate and figuring things out to make things fair is great for the activity.
I'm glad you mentioned that. They are amazing people. These directors who've never had it hard in the way I'm talking about, never had it, always had it kind of easy in a sense compared to like what my experiences have been.
Right.
They're great people. I love them and I admire them. I'm grateful anytime they reach out and they do plenty of things that are magnanimous and helpful toward all the rest of us, right? But here's the way I see it. I see 70% of band directors never have to deal with the lower 30%. But none of these 30%, none of them will ever become a leader in UMEA unless they move up, unless they try to move up, and some of them do, right? So then out of this 70%, you have like the most successful, maybe 20% at the top, and most of UMEA leadership comes from there because they're feeling successful, they feel like they have a chance to contribute because they know what they're doing, and they do know what they're doing. That's great, yeah. But someone down here might know way more about how to build a program because they've been in the darkest trenches, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. And so the leadership, they're great people, but they've been up here most of their lives, and they don't. So they think, and they're doing great work. I appreciate all the work UMEA is doing. But they don't really see this bottom 50% or 70% even. They don't really know what that is like and how they could change a few things to make all these lives like a lot better, to make them feel more successful. It's partly about feeling successful that could be made better in 1 year with a few changes.
Yeah. Well, again, I think that continuing to push the issue is a good thing. So I wish you the best with that. And I talked with John Miller a few weeks ago about a resolution that hasn't passed yet, but they're moving toward having multiple competitions, 2 competitions simultaneously on Saturdays during the fall. Whereas right now they're just doing several big shows throughout the season. They'd be having directors bid on shows and having 2 shows a week where bands kind of choose where they're going to go. What are your thoughts on that?
Interesting. Yeah. Well, and I believe John Miller, he wants to see more kids doing marching band in the state of Utah. I believe him. So, those intentions are really good. And so I think if that's ever going to happen, I think we have to do something like that. I wouldn't have thought of that myself as a path forward, but I think it's kind of brilliant because one of the things holding marching bands back is the cost of travel. I don't know about other districts, but in our district, just traveling to Salt Lake City and back on one bus is $250. So 2 buses going even like it's per mile, right? So it becomes really expensive.
So if you go up to BBI, for example, in Logan,
right? That's why we've never gone.
Yeah.
It's like $900 just to get 1 bus there.
Wow.
And we're not allowed to drive ourselves. We have to use buses. So
I see.
So it's expensive. Would it be worth it? Yes, if our marching band gets big enough and we get enough fees from students that we can, that would be great. I've never been there, never taken the band there or been there, simply for that reason. So I think let's not do a competition every single Saturday, and let's do 2 so there's some more local choices. I think that's, and more, maybe even more bands at each one, because instead of choosing 4 or 5 out of 10 options, we're all going to the same 5 weekends. I think that, I don't know if he's thinking about it in terms of that, but that sounds great. I think that sounds pretty smart. Yeah.
Cool.
So I like that idea. And I like that they want to expand marching, but their policies that have affected us so negatively in the last few years definitely like put a cold blanket on us and any other school that's considering, I'm afraid to start my own marching band, but maybe if I combine with this neighboring high school, we could do it together, because it's hard. You're afraid to start something that is so big. It is. There's so many elements to a marching band, right? Yeah. And so, but if they were to do that, they'd be punished by the UMEA rules. They'd have to compete against 6A bands their first year. Nobody wants to do that. Yeah. But they say it's because they'd rather have individual high schools start, but we're afraid. We're afraid to start. We're afraid to join this world that is so intimidating.
Yeah. Well, Curtis, this has been absolutely fascinating. I feel like we could go on for a couple hours, and maybe we will someday.
Yeah.
I think that you have a very innovative mind, and you've obviously done so much to build programs, and you've stayed at programs and seen things through, and I just admire you so much for that, and I think that all of your students that you've had have that same admiration for you. I wish you the best with the marching band season this year, and with kind of fighting that good fight moving forward. Again, I believe that you're a force for good and for pushing the activity forward. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Such a
your
pleasure.
time.
Yeah. Thanks for everything you do.
Thank you for joining us today on the Marching Arts Utah podcast. We'll see you in the next episode.